Hello everyone, and welcome to the November 2022 Q&A video with me, Tom, otherwise known as TitaniumLegman, but you probably already know that if you're here. Or at least that's what I would normally say, because usually, in the past, these videos were for my supporters only. They were a benefit that I put up for my YouTube members and for my patrons, just as a little extra bonus for thanks really, for supporting me and everything like that. But recently, if you're here and not a member or a patron or something like that, you might be wondering, why are you seeing this? Well, recently, it was actually voted by my supporters that I make these videos public. So how it's going to work going forward is my members, my YouTube members, my patrons will be the ones who are allowed to ask questions either in my Discord or on Patreon, or when I put up a thread about it in the members only section of my community page on YouTube. They'll still be the ones who get to ask these questions, partially just because, again, I want there to be some extra kind of thank you for the people who decide to directly support me and everything like that. And then also, it frankly will just help as the channel has been growing exponentially. It'll help to have a little bit of a limiter on how many questions are coming in. So if you are a new member, especially with the just dearth of new people who've joined the channel because of Tactics Ogre, and you didn't realize, this is a benefit that you have. So you can look for these threads to go up at around the start of each month. I know it's the start of December now, but it's been very busy, so I haven't had the chance to get to recording this until literally the 2nd of December. But this is the November video, and after this, I will be accepting questions from members for the December video. So how this works, as you can tell, webcam is on. This is not a face reveal, although for many of you on the channel, it might seem like as such. I've done plenty of videos with webcam on before, face-to-face things like this, or having a webcam for games, stuff like that. So, but here I am. Hello, everyone. It's me. I'm Tom. I know a lot of you are new to the channel, so welcome. I hope you're enjoying. But yeah, so how this works is I get questions from the community, and then I just answer them, and we have a nice little chat. Chill, fun, casual, a little bit of background music, and we just go. Speaking of my supporters, though, because, funny enough, this video is going up on a Friday, as always, every Friday I need to thank my direct supporters. So, from Patreon, we have Caffeine System, Killer Cake, 18C, and Mike Ridings. And then from my YouTube members, we have Killer Cake, Canadian Animator Guy, IR Fine, Light B, Schnorble, Angel Plushie, Star Phoenix, Tojo Jr., Federico, Brand Solar One, Midday Moonlight, Luxor, Caffeine System, Tenchi, Matthew Berry, Lavorian, Hadwin, Retroclops, Vanguard Commander, Jason T131, LT, William L, and Jonic. Guys, if I've mispronounced any of your names, please let me know, especially all these new folks. I mean, geez, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 new members. Holy smokes. That's wild. So thank you guys. I appreciate all of you very, very much. You're part of the reason that I've been able to keep YouTube going into this big boom from Tactics Ogre, and I do stuff like this because I appreciate you guys so much. So specifically like these videos and then also the channel. But so thank you guys. Thank you very, very much. Now, moving on to our first question from Caffeine System. If you had the chance to make or be involved in making a game, what would you want it to be? And this is actually an interesting one because I've been involved in the creation of a few different projects that haven't quite seen full releases or been fully developed or anything like that. And I don't really know if they ever will, but that's okay. That's okay. It's the experience of working on them was a lot of fun. So there were, without getting into too many spoilers in case something does eventually happen, there was one loosely open world-ish turn-based strategy RPG, actually, that I was working on with a group of people. And then with the same group of people, we were also working on a horror game. And I was the lead writer on both of those projects, as well as assisting with a lot of other design elements and just influence of like how we could design game mechanics and systems and all that type of stuff. And they were both awesome. I loved both of those projects. I think they were both great, and I'd love to be able to work on another, surprisingly enough, turn-based strategy RPG project, or a horror game project, or anything else with just good story writing. I think I would really enjoy, and I'm quite good at. I did a ton of dialogue writing, which was actually a new thing for me. I'd not done a lot of dialogue writing in the past, a little bit, but So I did a lot of actual like character script dialogue writing for the first big project that we were working on. And that was a lot of fun. Like I enjoyed getting into the heads of these different characters and developing stuff for them. It's kind of like funny, we were working on it before all this stuff really started to explode. Like a retro-futurist kind of cyberpunk-esque world. Again, I don't want to get into too many details, but it was a ton of fun. I mean, geez, we started working on that 2015, I think. 2016 was when we really started working on it. So before some of the big boom of this stuff. And it was a blast. It was so much fun. So yeah, I mean, something like that I would love to make. Just a story-based game in general with dialogue options and things like that I would love to work on. I would love to say that I would get more involved with coding and things like that, but that's not my area of expertise. Writing is where I'm best. So things like that. Things like that I think I would enjoy the most. I think that'd be a lot of fun. And then horror as well, because like I got to write a bunch of like spooky jump scare lines and the background story for like why there's a horror thing going on in this setting. That was a lot of fun as well. So really, I just want to be able to work on games. That's a big dream. That's a big dream. But those are some loose ideas. So thank you, Caffeine System, for your question. Schnorble Schnorble asks, what are your thoughts on beans IRL? And again, for a lot of you new folks around the channel, this might be a little bit of a weird cut or like a little bit of a weird question, but especially for my new YouTube members, you might notice that the badge that you have next to your name is beans. And there's a reason for that. I have a video somewhere here by actually one of our future question askers, IR Fine, put it together, a compilation video of the beans incident from my near replicant playthrough, where, long story short, I lost a lot of money by accidentally buying a bunch of beans. So that was my phone buzzing a little bit because I forgot to move it off of my desk. If you happen to hear that, my apologies. But yeah, so long story short, I lost a lot of money to beans, and beans just quickly became one of the first channel memes and has persisted since then. So that's why we are asking about beans today. Beans IRL, I love beans. Like, I know this is a little bit of a meme question, but I'm a cook. I like to cook, and I like to use beans in a lot of different stuff. Like 4 or 5 bean chili is awesome. I've made a few different types of like Mexican style black beans for different dishes that I've made. I like beans. Beans are good stuff. Chickpeas as a type of bean, legumes, all that type of stuff. Even like beans in some types of soups. Like you can get, again, chickpeas or like a basic cannelli bean in some chicken soup can add a lot of body to a good soup like that. So I do like beans a lot. So thank you, Schnorble, for the question. Tenchi asks, will you play Ori and the Will of the Wisp, the sequel to Blind Forest? It's way more Hollow Knight style in the gameplay. So again, for our new folks out there, if you were not aware, Ori and the Blind Forest is something I played on the channel 3-4 months ago, I think. Is that right? God, it might even be longer than that. Looking at the calendar. I played Ori and the Blind Forest as it was highly recommended to me by Tenchi and others in the community. Partially because I played Hollow Knight, and prior to Tactics Ogre, that was the biggest thing on the channel. Very successful Let's Play. Loved it to death. Absolutely adore Hollow Knight. Can't wait for Silk Song. That's going to be on the channel whenever it eventually comes to us. Team Cherry, come on. But so I played Ori, as it was highly recommended, alongside Hollow Knight. And unlike Hollow Knight, I was far more down on it than I think even like I expected to be, and certainly more than the community expected me to be. I still enjoyed it, and I finished the game on the channel, but there was a lot of things about it that were very frustrating to me. So I've had a lot of people tell me, like, Will of the Wisps, the sequel to the Blind Forest, hammered out a lot of the quality of life things, a lot of the annoying gameplay elements that the first game had. I'll probably like it a lot more, and I'm certainly willing to try it. You know, kind of more to your question, Tenchi. I'm definitely intend to play it. I just have to find the time. But I do want to give that series another chance in my own head in terms of the actual games. And I do trust you guys when you tell me that like a lot of the gripes that I had with with Blind Forest were addressed in Will of the Wisps. So it will definitely happen. I don't know when exactly, but it will happen for sure, Tenchi. I'm trying to think when a release is going to slow down. Maybe after Fire Emblem Engage. Maybe after Fire Emblem Engage, because we're probably going to be covering Tactics Ogre stuff up until that at the very least. Huh. God, it is going to be a minute. It will happen. I promise you that. It will happen. However, that does actually... Thank you for the question, Tenchi. That does lead us conveniently into the next question from Hadwin, a new member to the channel. What title game will you cover after Tactics Ogre? And I kind of just went into that, huh? Putting aside Front Mission, which I do want to do more stuff of, I don't know if I'll keep doing videos of it. The tips video for Front Mission did well enough, but not nearly as well as my Tactics Ogre stuff. So I don't know if there's enough of a demand for guide videos, but maybe. I mean, if people want them, I'll see about putting them out there. But I am definitely interested in doing more streams. We had a good group of people for the first Front Mission stream. It was a lot of fun to cover. So I'd like to keep doing that. But in terms of videos on the channel, since I am videos first, ostensibly, it might be Fire Emblem Engage, honestly, because, again, Tactics Ogre, there's going to be a lot of content to cover for quite a while. I'll probably do some other, like, side videos, like Warhammer 40k Darktide. I would love to do even streams of, I don't know, maybe videos. I don't know what content is there for that, but I'm really interested in it as a game. And I just found out you get it on Game Pass if you've got a Game Pass sub, so suddenly available to me when I didn't think it was. But Fire Emblem Engage is definitely something that I'm going to have to cover on the channel. I did one video covering it when the reveal trailer came out. That video didn't do super well, but I also didn't make a great thumbnail for it, and my reach wasn't nearly what it is now with the boom from Tactics Ogre. So, and Fire Emblem is my favorite series of all time in terms of game series. So it would be remiss of me not to cover it on the channel, even though I'm very skeptical about it currently based on what we've seen thus far. You know, as more gameplay stuff comes out, I'm more interested in it in terms of it just looking like a good Fire Emblem game mechanically. I'm just not interested in the character designs or the story for the most part, but if it plays well, I'll enjoy it, I'm sure. So yeah, to answer your question, Hadwin, I think that might be what we wind up doing. It might be Fire Emblem Engage, unless something else comes along in between. We don't know... Do we know when Metal Slug Tactics is supposed to be coming out? Because I definitely want to cover that as well, at least in one video. But it got pushed back. I don't know if we have a proper release date for it. I'm going to have to look into that. And then Advance Wars, which is just in delay hell because Nintendo didn't want to put it out when the Russia-Ukraine conflict was happening, which I get, but it's been pushed back for a while now, so that needs to come out at some point, and I'll probably cover that. But at least as far as known releases, Engage, I think, is very likely. So thank you for the question, Hadwin. Moving on to IR Fine. This is a tradition in these videos. IR Fine always tosses me a wildcard question, letting me choose what question I want to answer for the community. So I've done some interesting, fun ones in the past. And today, I think just because we have a big influx of people and a lot of people who don't know the history of the channel, I decided to answer the question, why did I choose Chrono Trigger as my first Let's Play on the channel? Those of you who don't know, Chrono Trigger is the first Let's Play I did on the channel back in October of 2019, when I first started uploading. And I was actually surprised. The reception of the Chrono Trigger Let's Play was very good. Like, it got hundreds of views, which for a brand new channel surprised me. I didn't think I'd get any views. And it was fun, man. I loved that Let's Play. I still love that Let's Play, and a lot of people still really enjoy it to this day, even though it's very dated now in terms of my editing and my presentation style and whatnot. But I chose Chrono Trigger for my first series because I had never played it. And going into this channel, and still to this day, I'm using it as an opportunity to check out games that I really should, that I think I'll enjoy, but never seem to have the time for in just my own like personal casual playtime. So having a reason and an excuse to sit down and play it for X amount of time a day, to me, is a good way to get through and approach games that I otherwise might never make time for. And so that was my philosophy with Chrono Trigger. It had been sitting in my Steam library for years. I picked it up in a winter sale, I don't even know, back in college. And I never got around to playing it, even though I know it's such a classic, beloved, incredibly well-received, and for good reason, game. So I figured, why not? It's a long-form game, chill, looks very fun from what little I've seen of it. I don't know anything about it. I went into it pretty much completely blind. And it was a blast. And I'm glad that I did that, because it allowed me to experience a game that I don't know if I ever would have found the time to play otherwise. So that's why I chose Chrono Trigger, and it's why I've chosen a lot of the games that I've wound up playing on the channel. Hollow Knight was another one that was highly, highly recommended to me. Didn't know if I'd ever find the time to play it myself, So I made it a Let's Play on the channel to force myself to sit down and play it, and God, I'm glad I did. I found some amazing games. Outer Wilds is another one I probably never would have played without it being recommended to me on the channel and having a reason to sit down and play it every day for the channel. So that's why I chose Chrono Trigger and a bunch of other games. So thank you for the wildcard question. Fine, I always appreciate it. It allows me to kind of explore topics that just never get asked. So thank you. And finally, moving on. Actually, might not be too long of a video today. These tend to go like for a half hour sometimes, but this should be shorter. From Canada, our final question. Given that this month is all about strategy games, what existing series would you like to see get a tactics RPG? It can be anything from Zelda to Barney the Dinosaur. Which that's an interesting idea, the Barney the Dinosaur strategy tactics RPG. It would have to have something to do with friendship and love. Anyway, that's not my answer. The immediate answer that comes to mind for me is, well, two answers, really. Halo and Destiny. And I hesitate to say Halo fully, seeing as how Halo did get 2 real-time strategy games in Halo Wars 1 and 2. I haven't played Halo Wars 2, but I adore Halo Wars 1. It's honestly one of my favorite games. It's a blast to play, especially co-op. That doesn't really count as a tactics RPG, not even an RPG at all, really. But it's at least closer. It's at least closer than something like Destiny, which does not have a tactics RPG. But for those of you who don't know, Destiny is another one of my favorite series of all time. I adore Destiny 1. I adore Destiny 2, despite Destiny 2 having a lot of problems on and off because of management stuff. But as a world and as a series and as a game, like functionally, I adore the Destiny games. I love what Bungie's done with them. I love everything about them, really, except the microtransactions. The microtransactions can burn in hell. They're terrible. But that said, because I love the world of Destiny so much, I would love to see a tactics RPG for Destiny. Like, just imagining being able... It would probably be more XCOM-y than something like Tactics Ogre, but just the idea of having, like, a team of Guardians, right? And leveling them up and getting, like, finding gear on the battlefield. I'm almost thinking of, like, a war gear system for those of you who played Dawn of War 2. Like, being able to go out into missions, finding gear, drops, things like that. Things that would be recognizable from the Destiny universe, and then new stuff as well. And, like, building out, okay, I have a hunter here, I have a warlock here, I have a titan here. They could have subclasses based on their subclasses from the game. You could even incorporate other characters like Fallen or Elixni or Cabal or different characters who could have their own classes. Yeah, the more I think about it, an XCOM skin of, like, or a Destiny skin of XCOM would be a blast. I would love that. And then having your different abilities, having your supers and your grenades and all that type of stuff, and going through the world, exploring areas of the Destiny universe that we've not been able to see before. That would be a blast. I would love to see Bungie or another studio working with Bungie do something like that. Like, get Bungie and Firaxis together, and, like, they're not making XCOM right now because they're making Marvel Midnight Suns, which just came out. So screw it. Get them together and make Destiny XCOM. That would be incredible. I would be so on board with that. I would play the shit out of that. I would throw my money at that for sure. That'd be great. So, yeah, I think more than anything else, Destiny, for me, would make an awesome tactics RPG. But thank you, Canadian. That was a really, like, didn't expect to get so passionate about that one, but that was a good question, so thank you. With that said, we are just slightly before 20 minutes. And I think I'm going to start wrapping this one up here. So for those of you who've never seen one of my Q&A videos before, welcome. I hope you enjoyed. It's just a fun little chance to engage with you guys in the community, not have to have the conversation be focused around any one game or anything like that, and not have me distracted by playing a game and talking about it. It just gives me a chance to talk to you guys. So if you are a supporter on Patreon or on YouTube, then feel free to ask questions. Again, I'll be putting threads up where people can ask questions in my Discord, in Patreon, which I actually forgot to post in Patreon for this month. So sorry, patrons, my apologies. And then on YouTube. And pretty much nothing's off the table. I'll post the rules each time, basically just nothing too invasive or crude or anything like that. And I do reserve the right to, like, omit a question if I feel like I need to or it's been asked before or whatever. But that doesn't typically happen. So thank you guys for all of the support. Thank you everyone who's just been watching. I hope you had fun with this. And I will see you next month for the December Q&A, where hopefully we'll have a whole bunch of questions from a bunch of new people. That'd be a blast. But until then, my name is Tom, otherwise known as TitaniumLegman. Have a good night. Stay safe and healthy out there. And remember, be good to each other. Bye now.